Hello, NFA, no fucking around money mamas. It is so exciting for you to be here today and for us to be here with you for another biz breakdown session. As you know, if you've listened to these before, these are awesome ways for you to come on and get highlighted by sharing what you're doing in your business, and then for us to brainstorm ways for you to scale more quickly dependent on wherever you're at. You know, you can come on for questions like mindset tips. It could be manifestation, business scaling questions. And you all know I've had a podcast that I've rebranded the Woman Entrepreneur Podcast. And that is the show that this gets highlighted on. But I've had a podcast for a couple years and it's been in 55 countries and it's a top 5% podcast. So I have lots of different ways to help you scale your business. And I really like to focus on you being in your zone of genius. And so it was really fun for me when I met Norine on Instagram. We actually had I think I was on a live and she reached out, we connected and we just jammed out over Instagram DMs. And, you know, I said, hey, you want to come on for a biz breakdown session? And she has such a fun spirit, which you'll get to learn about her today. And she said, sure. So today we have on Norine Fahie, and she has a podcast called the Save Our Sisters Unplugged podcast. And we're going to talk about her business and where she's at on the business scaling roadmap, getting to her zone of manifestation, and then any stuck points she has so that we can help her break through. So welcome to the show today, Norine.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Amanda. Yeah. We actually met on Around the Pod, I think it was.
Yeah. Yes.
Adam Scheib. Yep.
Yeah. Great. Okay. So for those of you who haven't heard it yet, and I haven't given him a shout out yet, but he's a huge part of me revamping my podcast. And he has a podcast called the Podcasting Business School. And he is rocking it out and he's really good at what he does. And so he has people on live, guests just like you and me can go on. If you have a podcast, actually, he has podcasting guests and he really is awesome. So if you have a podcast, check him out. Definitely. So Around the Pod, that was a fun conversation.
It really was. It actually inspired me to go on. I think I went on like a couple of weeks after that. And
awesome.
I was so nervous in the beginning of it because, you know, I'm still pushing myself. I'm still stretching myself to be live and have people see my face. You know, with the podcast, you hide behind, you know.
Yes, that is so true.
Yeah.
That's so interesting, you know, because I've always done my podcast as both audio and video. And so I never really had that benefit. But every once in a while, I would do a longer form podcast and I wouldn't do the video. And I remember when I'd be done with those episodes, I'd be like, oh my God, this is so different. Just, you know, doing audio versus audio and video. And I loved it, actually.
You love the audio more than the video?
You know, I'd say I've gotten used to being on video, but it took a long time. And when you do just the audio, I don't know why, but for me, I feel like it's much more conversational and storytelling. Like sometimes when I'm on video, I feel like I need to get to the point, which isn't actually true. But for some reason, I have this stuck thing in my mind sometimes that I'm like, I got to get to the point when I'm on video because people don't want to watch as long as they're willing to listen. And
That's true.
Can be true, right? Like people will binge listen to podcasts, whereas with YouTube, Norine, if you can't hear, those of you who are listening instead of watching, she's raising her hand. And I think that's true. One of the reasons I decided to rebrand my podcast and awaken it again is because I did a poll of my people and a lot of them said, well, yeah, I actually prefer podcast over YouTube. And I had shut my podcast down and was just YouTubing. And I was like, what's the stuckness here? And I wasn't enjoying it as much. And I thought, you know what? I actually listen to more podcasts than I watch YouTube. So what's the disconnect here?
Right. That's true.
Yeah.
That's so true.
So it's, you know, we can do all the things. And also it's important to reflect and see what's working. So I like to start with this and we'll interweave your story and all the awesomeness you bring to the world as we walk through this today. If I could give you a magic wand and say like, hey, Norine, in a year from now, this is where you'll be in your business and you can grant anything that you choose, what would that be? Where will you be a year from now in your business?
Oh, wow. A year from now, I'm hoping to have at least 2,000 downloads per episode.
Nice.
Maybe some nice monetization that would lead into like a steady income.
Okay.
Sponsorship. I would like to be invited to speak on more widely known podcasts like yours and Adam's, and, just be able to spread the word on, at a different level that I am now.
Okay.
And that way people would recognize the name, Save Our Sisters Unplugged. When they hear that, they're going to be like, oh, I know that podcast,
Nice.
And then maybe that might lead to some speaking engagements later on to, help women who are stuck in, in their truth, to be able to spread that out.
Okay. I want to dig here some, because I want to understand more what your goals are and what you're manifesting. When you say monetization and sponsorship, is that the main way you're thinking about making money from your podcast? Or is it more that you would like to work with individuals as doing coaching type of stuff? Or is it like you see yourself just being a podcaster and making money solely from your podcast?
If coaching comes, I'm not going to shy away from it. But for right now, because I still have a job that, I still in corporate America. And so trying to balance corporate America and podcast life, and of course my personal life, it's been kind of a struggle. So I bought this new calendar where I can write these things down so I can visually see exactly where I'm at. I have blue for whatever I'm doing in podcasts, black for all my personal stuff, so that even when the hubs comes in and, he knows what's going on too. But I would like to do the podcasting, first, see where that goes. Monetization would be like a nice little second stream of income.
Okay.
And that's pretty much where I'm headed now.
Okay.
My goal is to reach as many women as I possibly can, because there's so many women out there with so many stories to tell. And of course, we've always been silenced, and now since the Me Too movement has come out and everyone's telling their tales, this is a great time for women to really just take their power back.
I love it. Yes. I got that when I listened to some of your podcast episodes. I was like, yeah, she's rocking it out, like women empowerment style. I love that.
I love it.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So do you enjoy your corporate job, or is it something where you see in the long term you would leave it if your business was making a replacement income?
I enjoy it-ish.
Okay.
It pays the bills. I love what I'm learning. I work for a huge corporation. It's widely popular.
Okay.
I do love the opportunities that it presents. It does give a lot of training. It does give a lot of classes that you can take. So like, for instance, if, even if you're in logistics and you may want to take some kind of computer classes later on, like you want to just switch your major to like computers or something, you can totally take like SaaS training classes and, whatever you want to do. Like, and these things are free to you. So they have a lot of resources for you to really expand your education and certifications, so especially if you don't have a degree, but I've been there for 17 years now.
Okay.
And I'm wanting to do something in this stage of my life that I really enjoy doing every day. Like, I want to do it every day. And, when I'm talking to the people, I'm getting to know different people and I'm getting to hear their story. And while I'm hearing their story, I'm also healing myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
it's the beauty of getting to teach and share wisdom and knowledge, is that you grow together with the people that you share the information with.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. The reason I ask is because I always love to help people reverse engineer from that place of, what's the vision, and then reverse engineer from there.
Mm-hmm.
And, for some people, I think they go, I kind of love my job and I want a side hustle. And for other people, they go, I don't totally love it and I wish there was more, but they haven't yet seen the possibility that they could be a full-time entrepreneur. Where would you say you are in that scale?
I would say I might be in the middle of that. At the beginning of my career, my kids were younger.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, I had to really focus on the job. But now my nest is empty. It's just my husband and I can really get back into some of the things that I enjoy and what I enjoy doing. You may never know it, but I'm actually an introvert.
Yeah.
But I like talking to people.
Yeah.
When they have something to say.
Yeah. Okay. And share a little bit, like the Save Our Sisters Unplugged podcast. Share for listeners now, what what's your main quest and vision and mission in your podcasting?
So my mission is to help women of all ages kind of like free themselves, to share their stories of success to survival. So
Okay.
they've been through all these different things, and in spite of it, they've come through the fire, and now they can share their story of of success because they were on the bottom. Now they're at the top. They're doing well. They're doing great. They're thriving. Their families are okay. They're not in a state of panic anymore. They're not in a state of survival. They're able to live.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Wow.
that is my mission. And my vision, of course, I want a world where women, regardless of who they are inspired, motivated, and elevated, to their fullest potential.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's really what I want for them.
Okay. And do you see yourself as inspirational, as teaching action steps, as just giving a platform for a voice?
I think I see myself as both.
Okay.
Because I share my story as well. I mean, I have a
Yeah.
story, I told bits and pieces of it. My sister came on, she shared her story. I've been a single parent for a long time, and that was rough. And, it's just a trickle down effect. Like, I'm pretty much a phoenix. So I get it, but it stems me wanting to create this platform for women to share their stories. It
Yeah.
stems from me not having that voice myself growing up in my parents' household. And I'm from the Virgin Islands, and so my parents are strict British people.
Mm-hmm.
Is you say as you do what I say or else.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens in our home stays in our home. So you don't really get a lot of a voice to speak your truth or what's going on with you, because if anything's happening to you, you just have to swallow it.
Yeah.
So now that I'm a big girl now, and no one can put me in the corner.
Yeah.
I use this as an avenue to not only help other women free themselves, but also to free myself as well.
I love that. Yeah. It resonates with me so much because I was raised fundamentalist Christian, and there was a lot of suppression of voice, and
Absolutely.
I love my parents, and, they've done an amazing job, and they've changed in all their own ways. And I look back at my childhood and I go like, that voice suppression is huge for girls, especially in religion.
Yes, my father's a pastor, so
yeah,
there was definitely lots of that.
Yeah,
and hence the reason why you can't take your business out of the house, because God forbid you embarrass your parents.
Yeah, and all of that causes different types of money blocks for us, where we go out in the world to promote ourselves and we go like, ooh, shining my light is wrong, or having a large voice is wrong. Speaking my truth, like all that stuff can come up in business for women, in big ways.
And even celebrating yourself.
Totally.
People put that off as bragging, but you have to really celebrate yourself, because how else will you elevate?
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. So it's great because it helps everyone here have context for, where it is that you are wanting to go. I still wonder, like for you, if it's in your mind, because something you said, it's like the job you have gives you great resources. And so I like to dig and get into the understanding for people is like, is it fear of leaving a job, or planting the seed that you could have a business that generates the kind of income that you would need and want to replace your job? Or is it that like you just truly are balanced and you in your business right now and in your work, and you go like, I want both, and either one is okay? I just like to get really clear, like, is it fear holding you back from taking the leap into full-time entrepreneurship, or is it that you actually really like your job?
It's not fear, it's just opportunity. So this is kind of me trying to segue. So I would like to retire from the job, but I'm not afraid to leave if I find something that's comparable.
Okay.
I mean, this job makes it hard for you to leave. I mean, they offer you everything. They offer you everything, bonuses included, and you're like, if I can't make this kind of money going somewhere else, I might as well stay where I am. But in the interim of that, let me set up this side business so that if I, let's say one day just decide, you know what, I've had enough, I have something else that I can fall back on.
Yeah. Awesome.
Unless
Well,
it's the lottery. If I win the lottery, I'll just quit. But well, I'll resign because I'm polite.
yeah. Well, I'm glad you said that, because the interesting thing is, like, if you won the lottery, then would you keep building your podcast in that community?
Oh, absolutely. And it's not even just about my podcast. It's about the Save Our Sisters brand,
Yeah.
because where I want to take it is to be more open in the community. For instance, I would love to provide scholarships for girls coming right out of high school, going into college. So I want them to have that, just that safety net that, okay, I at least have something. I can get this scholarship here. That'll help out some. It'll cushion it. But not only that, I also want to provide this platform for them to also share their truth, because it's
Yeah.
not just for older women. I want younger women. I mean, those
Like all women. Yeah.
those tween ages where things are a little bit confusing and things
Yeah.
happen to them and they don't understand quite fully. We want to just serve as a big sister to say, hey, you can talk to us,
Yeah.
and even if you're not willing to share all your details, we'll get you some help in your area, wherever you are. We'll find some kind of an outlet for you to maybe go in person and speak, or some kind of a crisis hotline for you to speak with. Like, we
Yeah.
don't want them to think that they're out there on the limb by themselves.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So I want to point out to everyone here how powerful this is, and for you too, Norine, to start reflecting on it. I always love to ask the question, if you had $1 billion, what would you do with your time? And I mean, everyone here, write that down and journal on it today. Like, when you journal on this, it really blows your mind, because you start to get clear on what is your zone of genius and what really has meaning and value and purpose for you. So the question is, if I had $1 billion, what would I do with my time? And the reason is because money gives us time freedom. And ultimately, the only reason any of us want to be financially free is because we want to do whatever we want with our time.
For
right?
sure.
And of course, we would spend money on certain things, but it's like we want the time freedom. And so I think it's interesting that when I asked you that, you said yourself, if you won the lottery, you would quit your job. To me, then that's like not a zone of genius job. We go like, if you loved it so much, you would never want to leave it. You'd go like, I love it so much, it's all I would do for money. Right. Or it's all I would do with my time. So just, keep that in mind. Would never push someone to leave their job, especially before they have a business transition plan built. And it sounds like that's what you're doing. Exactly. And so, like, in some ways, I want to help you tune up a little bit and get really conscious about, like, there's a bigger zone of genius calling here for me. And it definitely, I mean, when you talk about the women that you are serving through the podcast and what you want to do, I mean, having clarity about creating a scholarship and really helping women of all ages, like you light up, and it's very clear that that is an inspired path for you. And so, start playing with that a little bit in your mind.
Oh, yeah.
And I would say what it'll do is accelerate your mission, and it will shrink the timeline of getting there faster when you're clear and you allow yourself to want that with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind. And then you believe it and you go like, I can see myself on stage. I can see myself helping women all over the world. I can see this scholarship fund, and just start planting the seeds so that it can manifest and come your way more easily.
Absolutely. And everything is in the works. I'm in the process of getting, the not-for-profit status.
Nice.
So
awesome.
Yeah. So, and not only that, we're wanting to have more events where we can invite the younger crowd. So of course, next March, we're planning, March is Women's History Month, or Women's Herstory Month, as we say.
Yeah.
And so in March, I'm planning to have a Hey Sis event where we would invite women of all ages to come in. And it would be a luncheon. And of course, they would learn a lot of things. We'll have a couple of speakers. We'll have some gift bags. We'll have raffles. But It will be a complete networking event. Okay. And it would be a safe space where everyone can come together, and we will congregate, and then we will talk about different topics. Why are we, being silenced, and what are we going to do about it? And how can we change this trajectory for our children and our children's children, because we want all these Gen Zs to also be empowered. So my little granddaughter is going to be there. She's 7. Yeah. She loves it. I put her on my Save Our Sisters to talk about, on Instagram. She talks about being good friends and stuff. And I'm planting seeds because awesome. I want her to understand how women relationships work.
Good. Okay. I have a question for you from a business standpoint. Are you monetizing that event? Are you doing, who's funding it? How is it getting funded?
So I will, right now, it would be good for me to monetize it. We're still in the works. It would be good for me to monetize it. And this is why I'm trying to get the not-for-profit status so I can have a den for the money.
Yeah.
Because, I think my biggest fear is, how you hear all these different places, they're stealing from their charity funds and all these different things. I don't ever want my name or Save Our Sisters associated with anything like that. So I don't want people to feel uncomfortable where their money is going. So I would definitely like to monetize it, just so that we could get that college fund started.
Okay.
For those scholarships.
Yeah. So this event, you said it's coming up when? Is this first event?
It's going to be next March.
In March? Okay.
March 2023.
And so is there a reason you wouldn't monetize it even if you didn't have the status yet?
I'm still learning the ropes.
Okay.
So I'm not afraid to monetize it.
Okay.
I'm just not set up yet to really accept funds.
Okay.
Like,
so
I don't have a business bank account yet or anything.
Yeah. So are you planning to have it set up before the event?
Fingers crossed. That is a goal. That is on my list.
Okay.
To have it set up before then, because I think it takes 6 months to.
Okay. But I guess what I'm encouraging and inspiring you to do is monetize it instead of here's something that like I've seen a lot with like a person who has a servant heart in a lot of ways and a very big heart and really wants to empower people. We tend to give and forget about the receiving side. So, creating balanced equilibrium. So there's this, on my zone of manifestation business scaling roadmap, zone number 2 is the over deliver and undercharge zone. So most of the time, 80% of entrepreneurs get stuck here where they overgive, often bartering, often giving things away for free without having any monetary gain. And then it's impossible to keep fueling yourself and your business because then you burn out because you overgive, because you have this huge heart and you go like, I'll fund this whole event and because I care so much about getting everyone together and I care that they get big results, but then you forget like, hey, wait, there's nothing wrong with equivalent exchange. Like in fact, I can impact more people the more money I make. Right. And so always remembering that money is just an amplifier of who you are. So if you're a greedy jerk and you're one of those nonprofits who's stealing money from people and spending it in weird ways, you'll do that. But clearly you're not that person. No. And so, the more money you make in anything that you create, you're going to I could see, pay it back into your business and keep moving forward and fueling yourself. But you also want to create a really awesome profitable company where you get to do exactly what you want with your time, living in your zone of genius, where you do have the money to quit that job and you don't even have to worry about those resources that your job right now gives you because you provide that all for yourself through having a powerful company. Does that make sense?
That makes plenty of sense.
Yeah. So the goal for me at this moment, after just getting to sit with you for a little bit, is like planting that seed for you.
You've planted a seed for sure, because, my first mind is to, at that event, I normally work with the Center for Prevention of Abuse. Whereas, we do a clothing drive as well. So anything that I do within the community, I used to also have a group called Single Parents United for single parents. And it was pretty much just a group where single parents can come together and be a resource and a source of strength for each other. Yeah. And so we always used to give to that too, because we know what it's like to have to do without. And I've went to pantries before, to get my kids food and clothing. This was my single parenting life, Yeah. And so at this event, I would like to keep carrying it on. So even though you're planting seeds, my first mind is to say, I'm going to donate this money to like a charity. Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Or I'll go ahead and save it for the scholarship fund.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. It can be both and. It doesn't have to be either or. Like this is the stuck point. This is the money block. People get stuck going, oh, I'm going to give everything away and give it all to charity and give all this scholarship because I know what it's like to have been impoverished. And now obviously it sounds like you have a much better salary and you're not in that situation. And yet there's nothing wrong with having both and. So you go, I pay myself for the efforts that I put in, and then that can grow and amplify, and then you have even more money for the scholarship. And so it's also thinking about like, finding people who can fund the event and then it's not out of your pocket only, and it's not out of, it's like you're creating a whole organization. And it sounds like partly what you're doing, but I can tell you have a little bit of that stuckness in your mind of like wanting to give it all away and thinking that you need to just stay where you are instead of expanding your potential in your mind.
I would definitely be open to hearing about how I can expand for sure. Because like I said, my first mind is always to give to people that are still in the struggle.
Yeah. Yeah. And here it's interesting because like you're not, to me, it doesn't sound like you're in a struggle place anymore, like where you can't eat and you're going to the pantry, right?
Definitely not.
And so that's awesome and amazing. And it's important to empower other people by modeling after you, right? So whatever you project into the world, other people are going to model after you, the people that you attract your way. And so when you're working with, let's say, impoverished populations or marginalized populations, the greatest light you can give is be a model of empowerment, of abundance, of like breaking through your own money blocks, because then you shine that light in the world, and then the women who are attracted your way get to follow you in that quest. And I know that you would want every woman who follows you to be abundant financially, spiritually, with their relationships, in their work life. Like that's what you are wanting to project. I can see it so powerfully.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I want everybody to win. There's a lot of how do you say it, a competition with women sometimes, and it's unfortunate because there's there's a big enough table for all of us. We can all eat.
Yeah. Okay. So awesome. It's interesting because this all ties into like the initial question where I asked what your goal is for a year from now. And it's like 2,000 downloads per episode, monetization, sponsorship, speaking, and spreading the word. And in none of that do I hear like you being able to leave your job or you being, it's like, it's fascinating to me because I go like, oh, you have it in your mind so clearly that it's like a side hustle that makes a difference, but not necessarily a huge money-making quest.
Well, yes. And you know what? I should have added that in there but I think where I said leading to steady income, I'm, once it leads to a steady income, I can get rid of the other one.
Yeah. So let me in my money healing ways. I want to help you get there faster.
I love that money healer.
Like it's me helping you see where you're blocked without you knowing it, because, and this is the thing that's so interesting is like, especially when people have huge hearts, it's like all you can see is helping people, which is awesome. Like we need more people like you in the world, and we need more women like you making a lot of money to help more people in the world.
Right.
Right. And so I just want to like keep opening up your potential in your mind to like, I can have a multi-million-dollar company. Like there is absolutely
turn it down. That's
absolutely no reason you can't have that. Right. And so, but you got to start thinking in that way.
Yeah. Okay.
Because if you're thinking only about giving everything away, you will never even be able to get yourself into a position of power with your finances to that level where you really can make a huge impact. Right. Because you'll end up burning yourself out. You give too much. Does that make sense? And
it does make sense. I mean, I'm thinking of all the different ways that I could make money, and I'm thinking, merchandise and all that stuff. So I'll probably have some of that at the event, but
yeah.
Now that you've put that in my head, like there's opportunities to make money.
Great. Okay. That is exactly, and I know like the twists and turns of these business breakdown sessions, for me, it's like I go with what I see the point of stuckness the most. And I'm like, ooh, okay. So what I'm thinking is like, I want you to walk away and write down 15 ways that you can make money from that event and make big impact. Because I think you have it separated in your mind a little bit, like, I can only make impact or money, not both. I want you to have both, right? So go, what are 15 ways I can make big money from this event and big impact?
Okay.
And you already just came up with one, right? Like merchandise. I'm thinking like you can have donors. You can have people who have bigger, higher tickets come into the event. You could have people who fund it because they want to contribute to the scholarship pool. You could have, just just planting those seeds so that you can start to stretch your mind and have this wealth consciousness mindset instead of a giver only mindset.
I agree. I totally agree. And like I said, I've had different community things before, but I've always come out of pocket, even for the food. I've cooked the food myself.
Yes,
I'm
can see
I'm a
that
great
about
cook.
you.
I'm a great cook. I'm an island girl. Of course, this is
Yeah.
pre-COVID, so
Yeah. And I can see that about you. Like, even when I look at what you put out in the world, I'm like, oh, you're a giver. Like, it fuels your soul in a lot of ways to give, and you really care. So now let's combine that with making money. I really want you to know there's nothing wrong with you making money, doing what you love, and impacting people in the world. And in fact, the more money you make, the bigger impact you get to have. And we need more women of color, especially, making big, huge money in the world.
I agree. I
Right?
totally agree. You shocked me with that, but I agree. I wasn't ready.
Good. That's why I came here today. It's interesting. I was thinking the other day about, biz breakdown sessions are new for me, and I re-listen to them when they air to just like go, how could I do better? What could I have said that I didn't say, or what could I see that I didn't see? And so I'm always like, I'm just going to say exactly, like, intuitively what comes to me, because it always leads me in the right direction.
Yeah.
And, for you, it's like, I'm thinking like, man, you are woman, power woman, you have like so much to give to the world. And it's like, my vision for you from what you've said today is like, oh, keep your job until you start making your other part of your zone of genius, like the main part of you,
Yep.
just start to catalyze momentum in this really beautiful way, where you just are collecting and attracting women to you. And people are like, how can I give you money to build this platform? Because it's coming from this huge heart that you have, and you're empowering women, and it's something that we need in the world. So it's like, I just see the possibilities there for you, and it's going to take a switch of your mindset, because it can't be you funding it all by yourself.
No, exactly. And so I definitely don't want to do that myself, but I just knew that I needed to do something, and nobody else was doing anything that I was trying to do.
Yeah.
And so it's like, be the change. I try to be the change I wish to see in the world.
Yes. Yes. And one of the changes I know you want to see is women being financially empowered.
Yes, I would like to see myself be financially
Yes,
empowered.
Exactly, right? Like,
because that way so years ago, when I was married to my ex-husband, I started to write a book. And in that book, I already knew I had this community spirit in me for women. And in that book, it was a Women of Strength teen center that I was writing about. So of course, fast forward now, we have a Save Our Sisters, that we're trying to do it. And in that, it was, of course, it's going to be computer literacy and, different things, and trying to get certified in different things. And so if I were to, as you say, win that billion, because when you come from very humble beginnings, you always think about how you would spend your money in a way that God is not going to take it back. Because, you have to really manage your blessings accordingly. And so, in addition to the scholarship, it would definitely be, I have a passion for helping the homeless.
Yeah.
And I would love to like buy a hotel, and they're already equipped for like studio apartments.
Totally. Yeah.
So totally revamp that whole thing. And then we would have a program, we would have programs in there.
Very
They could
cool.
be in there for like a year. You can't stay, it's not like it's still a hotel. So it's going to still operate like that.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be like 5 days you're out. We're going to make sure you get healthy,
resources.
Mentally, right. We're going to give you resources. We're going to make sure you're mentally healthy, financially healthy. We're going to set you up for success in life.
Love it. Okay. Everything you're saying is so awesome. And I can see, like, imagine that you become the generator of the wealth to fund all these things, which is absolutely possible. I don't know if you've seen it quite that way yet, but
I'm still, it's the vision is still forming, but I can definitely see it. If I really lay my cards right, if I really plan my steps on this journey then I could see it happening.
Awesome. So keep meditating on that, keep journaling about that, keep visualizing that. And the switch in your mind to start to have the money actually appear into your reality is for you to openly receive it, based on getting rid of the mindset that like you've got to do things for free, or that you're not powerful enough to generate that much income. Like, I don't hear you saying that necessarily, but I also think that there's like, being lovingly hard on you. I think it's a playing small in a way, right?
Okay.
Like, because you've got a big spirit.
I gotta think big.
Yeah, you got to think
bigger.
Think bigger and connect more. Cause like I mean, the way that you interacted with me on Instagram, I can see that you're really good at conversation and networking and talking to people and then sharing your story. And same with your podcast. Like you're vibrant and you're attracting people who care about these things. And so just now turn on that switch in your mind of like, okay, how now do I make big money doing this and big impact at the same time, and let the universe bring you ways to do that. So, my 3-step manifestation, it's really simple. You got to get really crystal clear on what you want and believe it's 100% true. Take action in the direction and then let the universe bring you the ways. So right now, you don't have to know all the answers to how you're going to quit your job and create this huge foundation and build scholarships and have a hotel for homeless individuals. Like, you don't have to know all the steps between A to Z. You just need to know A to B and keep moving. But you've got to clearly envision, ooh, Norine is a badass powerhouse moneymaker. I'm going to attract all the money I need for this and all the resources and all the people, and let's rock it out and create my vision. And just keep thinking in that way is how I would.
That's exactly what I'm going to do. Now my husband is going to be all stressed out when he comes home because I'm going to be like, babe, guess what? Guess what happened on this business breakdown? And I have to write it down and I have to tell you now because we're going to have to move fast.
Nice. Ooh. So what I see for you is once you're clear, you manifest quickly.
Oh yeah. You know what? I'm a Gemini, so I don't really sit on a lot of stuff. Yeah. It's like it's like even with going on the around the pod.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm stretching. I don't like to be on camera.
Yeah. Well, you're doing amazing, by the way, just so you know.
Thank you. Because I'm passionate about what I do. And, I used to have a real big issue with speaking in public, even though I was putting myself out there with my Single Parents United group.
Yeah.
And I would speak because I would have to welcome people and tell them why we're here and all that stuff. And but I would be shaking. And then my friend said, okay, when you see someone at the podium speaking, what do you feel about them? I said, well, I feel like they're talking about important things.
Yeah.
And she said, well, don't you think that what you're saying is important? And I don't know why those words just totally flipped my switch on. And I was like, yes, what I'm saying is very important. And then I had to say myself, and it's my group.
Yeah.
I'm the boss. So
the beauty there is
change my mindset.
Yeah. The beauty there is it becomes about them instead of yourself. Right.
Yeah.
Like when you're up there speaking and you're nervous, all you're thinking is like, people are looking at me weirdly. I feel uncomfortable, instead of going like, what are they getting out of it?
Exactly.
And you put yourself to the side and you go like, I'm going to just deliver powerfully. And then it attracts people to you because people love that confident, magnetic way of being. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We could go for a long time. I want to know the action step you're going to take. I'm going to follow up with you in the next week. So what action step are you going to take based on what you learned today between now and next week to manifest your vision?
I've already written down 15 ways to make money from the event.
Nice.
So I'm definitely going to get my list together.
Okay.
And then I'm going to push my team.
Okay.
I'm going to get my team together. We're going to go over how we're going to do this.
Awesome.
They're all hung up on having cocktails at this thing. And I'm like, you know what? I've never really been to a luncheon where they serve drinks. So I'm not going to let you stress me out.
Yeah.
Like we can go cocktails after it's successful.
Yeah, and light that fire in them with that question and brainstorm together. What are 15 ways we can make big bucks from this event and big impact? And
I've already teamed up. I'm so sorry to cut you.
Oh, that's okay. I was just going to say, like, let that ripple, like let that can be the foundation and the starting point, and start thinking. And that the reason I say this, it's so powerful to have the wealth consciousness mindset switch and it's about thinking bigger. Like I wanted you to keep thinking bigger and bigger and bigger and visualizing yourself. Like when you said you were going to journal after this, that's what we want to start stepping into, like your inspired fire of journaling, like the biggest Norine you see possible and right now. And it'll keep stretching because the bigger you play, the bigger you start to think and the bigger you start to feel and the more you start to attract. And then you're like, holy moly, if I can create this, what else is possible?
Exactly.
And so it just all starts from this momentum in the mindset of having a wealth consciousness shift.
And that's why I almost cut you off, because you've already got me so motivated. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have all these ideas now popping into my head just from this one conversation. I got to write it down. I got to make sure I spread the word right away before I forget.
Good.
Because if you've listened to my last episode, you know it's about the change. So
that's exciting. Okay. Tell everyone here before we wrap up, how they can find you. And if you're on YouTube, you can see it on the screen. And if you're on the podcast, then she's going to share it vocally, so you know.
So first of all, you can listen to the Save Our Sisters Unplugged podcast on all the things: Spotify, Anchor, Apple, Stitcher, all those things. On Instagram, I'm at SaveOurSisters_2020. And we have a Facebook group where we interact daily and inspire women daily. And so if you want to join our group, you can definitely search for Save Our Sisters SOS group. You'll see our logo on there. It's a blue logo with the pink and all that stuff. Some women. And when you come in there, we welcome you with open arms, and it is our safe space. There is no one in there that's going to say, hey, you can't say this or do this, except cussing.
Yeah.
Because women of all ages, you know, are in the group. You know, we don't want to have a bunch of profanity on there for the younger kids. You know, I don't want anyone screaming at me. You know, but it's not like I'm just gonna, you know, be out there just saying what we feel like. We can, but we'll just have to use our big girl words.
A little bit of censored sharing.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. So Save Our Sisters Unplugged podcast. I'd say start there. Awesome stuff. Check out Norine on Instagram, Save Our Sisters _2020, and then Facebook group, Save Our Sisters SOS group. I'm sure there's all kinds of awesomeness there, and I cannot wait to see what you create. And I look forward to hearing about all of the impact and income you bring in from your big event.
Yes, absolutely. Awesome. I am excited. I'm going to have to really write it down and put it into motion.
Great. Good to hear it. Okay. Thanks so much, everyone, for being here. Of course, if you got something out of the show today, either leave us a comment on YouTube. So @NFA Money is YouTube. If you're watching it there, you're already there and you see it. If you're listening on the podcast, a really great way to support the podcast that you listen to, this is mine or any other one you listen to, take a screenshot, share it with your community, and tag the person. My tag for the Women Entrepreneur podcast is at NFA Money, because everything I do is at NFA Money. So tag @NFA Money, leave me a comment, share with us. You could also tag Norine. You could tag Save Our Sisters _2020. And that helps us know that you received impact, and it inspires us to keep doing what we're doing in the world. And, you know, we put lots of time, money, energy, heart, soul, effort into making our podcast episodes. So just, you know, give us some feedback and some shout outs.
Yes. Show us some love.
Show us the love. All right, everyone. Thanks for being here. And until next time, NFA Money Making High Five.